Hi, my name is Zach Thompson, and today I'll be telling you about the problem with NIL, or name, image, and likeness. If you keep up with college sports in any way, shape, or form, you've been exposed to the transfer portal and its recent splurge of activity. This is all due to the NIL deals. These deals allow for players to get paid, not directly from the university, but other sponsors around or rooting for the university. Most people would say that this is good for everybody, the players, the schools, but it's not. It imbalances the playing field, and it also takes the students away from their original focus, which was being a student, and puts them in a more money-hungry landscape. We will begin today by talking about how the NIL deals negatively affect the schools and the atmosphere around them. Everyone knows the big-name schools like Georgia, Alabama, University of Texas, LSU, just to name a few. The one thing that these schools have is lots of donor funding. This keeps all the funding away from the smaller schools, such as Syracuse, or even Clemson is one. Clemson is a unique example because its location and its alumni donate a large amount to get it to the athletic funding that it's needed. But overall, the recruitment disparity that this causes shows off whenever you have these younger teams or these smaller teams like Michigan comparing against a team like Georgia or TCU in Georgia in the finals. The final was a complete blowout. TCU should not have even been there. This is all due because they could not pay the most. The fan support also has been lacking lately. If being in college, I've been able to see it firsthand in College Station in Texas. In A&M, they have these things called 2%ers, which are the people who don't live and breathe A&M, or are not waiting on the games, or not going to every game. I'd say that it's closer to probably 8 or 9% by now. But many athletes, parents, and critics still say that the NIL is only beneficial. It helps with financial literacy, and everybody's making money. These students are still blowing away their money on new Hellcats, no telling what else. But overall, if you look at this graph here, this shows a disparity between men's football in terms of the revenue that it gains versus the women's sports. Women's sports is below all other men's sports. Basketball, baseball, golf, they all rank above women's sports in totality. This causes a drift, and you can see the drift since the NIL deals have spiked. That we're almost reaching 30 million compared to negative 10 million. The issue is not within our women's athletics, it's within the sponsors who are not willing to sponsor these athletes, who are only willing to sponsor the big names that will only get them the big bucks, instead of actually wanting to make a change for the better. Everyone helps with financial literacy. They're still blowing their money away. There is no need for these children to be thrown in with millions of dollars when they didn't have any to begin with. But overall, NIL is not very good, and especially when it comes to the players. This graph shows support of how much the schools are actually spending and where they're getting the majority of their funding from. This is from the totality of the NCAA, and you can see that their biggest donors are going to be the institution and government supports, so they're not even getting their money from the NIL. But the thing is, they're getting all of this other money that the regular students are having to pay for, and that the athletes are taking the scholarships and not even finishing the school year before they transfer. But overall, NIL may seem good from the outside when it's clouded in green. But don't forget about the strained college athletes themselves. Though some may say that NIL is beneficial for players, NIL is a detriment to the entirety of college athletics. It only helps the big guys up top, people who are really having all the money. Though some may say that it's beneficial for players, especially the players who are coming from low-income families, but it's not. They only end up suffering more from whether that's an exposure to an amount of money they've never had, causing a road of addiction, or also just lavish living that won't last past their NIL deals. but it's crucial to preserve the essence of amateur athletics. If we don't, it's just another league. There's no use in us even separating it anymore and requiring the athletes to go to 3 years or even 1 year of school. I believe that if we all work together, we can kind of fight the NCAA and get rid of it. NIL doesn't benefit anyone. Not even the poorest athletes, not even the richest athletes. Okay, fuck this.